As the world changes, technology allows us to connect with people all over the planet without leaving our bedrooms. BNN Anchor Zach Clark takes you inside the homes and lives of those that are on the forefront of what is happening in our everyday lives and beyond. Now, for a closer look at our world, let's go inside Zach's bedroom for another bedtime story.
Reading outside of my bedroom, but always comfortable inside, and we are joined today from somewhere outside of Bristol, Connecticut. Ashley Brewer is with us. Ashley, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing great. And yeah, it's raining too. I moved to the East Coast and it's just been snow, rain, like nothing I've been used to, but here we are.
So you were at ABC in LA, now at ESPN. How long have you been there? And what has the transition been like? Because one of the things that you're going to talk about, I know that it come transition-wise, is moving exactly as everything kind of dissolved into the coronavirus pandemic. So what is it like taking that big step and moving on to ESPN, moving across the country from your family and from everything that you know, and then kind of having things just shut down around you? I can't imagine.
It feels like a joke is being played on me personally in my life. I'm like, I can't believe this. Like, this is really happening. It's awful what's happening in our country right now with the coronavirus and what's happening to people, obviously dying of coronavirus, what's happening with our economy and with people and their unemployment. I mean, it's just been terrible. So in no way do I really feel sorry for myself because so many people have it worse, but it has been just crazy and a surreal time to move for sure. I moved out here first week of March, and I'm so excited. I finally, dream come true. I made it. I'm on network television. I got the gig at ESPN. I agreed to the deal, I would say mid-January. So I had like a build up for about a month and a half, knowing I was going to take this job. Everything aligned and worked out, and I leave, and my mom.
And the coronavirus is like nowhere. It's like nowhere, right? At all.
It's like a joke at that point.
Right.
Yeah. Like I remember I was sick with the flu really bad in February, and I remember calling the doctor and kind of joking around, "Is this coronavirus?" And he was like, "Ha ha ha, yeah, right," because it was such an unknown thing. It was kind of just distant in China, and then boom, weeks later, it really was widespread across the world to the point where the world silenced from it. So I come and I get here first week of March. I'm so pumped, but now it's like, it's starting to become a conversation like, oh, that's weird. Like people are getting coronavirus in the United States. And then boom, the first day of work, I'm on the ESPN campus. I'm looking like, this is it. This is like a college campus. It's beautiful. Everyone here loves sports, and the NBA shuts down. And at this point, the show we had been working on hadn't launched, but we're doing kind of test runs. And so we're freaking out thinking, okay, our show's supposed to launch in 2 weeks, but it's a sports show. It's a highlight show. There are no highlights. There are no sports. I had all these meetings set up with all these executives and people at ESPN. Every single one of them canceled. So I'm kind of just sitting around at my house. A lot of our shows had been canceled that we were working up to the launch, and they said, just stay home. We'll set up a camera. And I had a camera crew come to my house and set up a camera. And so I'm just kind of sitting here in this new apartment in Connecticut by myself, like, what is going on? In a way, it was kind of a blessing because, moving is a nightmare anyways. Moving across the country is an even worse nightmare. So it was a blessing that I had time to set up my apartment and build my IKEA furniture and make everything perfect like I like it. But at the same time, after that's all done, it's like, okay, so what's my new hobby? Like, what can I do? Who can I call? Who can I talk to? I've created many new hobbies. I started doing a lot of different things to distract myself. I'm only working 2 days a week right now, which was not the plan, but everyone at ESPN really has had their schedules cut immensely. And so I'm grateful to even have 2 days of work where I can go on campus and I can do my shows and just be around people. That's the best part, is just seeing my coworkers and like having human interaction. But
real people, right? Crazy.
Real people. I'm like, what's up? It's so good to see you. When a normal day, you're just like, hey, what's going on? You know what I mean? But it's a blessing for sure just to be here. At the end of the day, I mean, I'm so grateful I took this job and I'm here, and I'm so excited just to see what the future holds. And I just can't wait for sports to come back and for things to just start moving and just to have people around again. I mean, that's the best part of our job is like the friendships. Like I met you and we've been friends for years now. And
Right.
I can't wait to be able to form those here in Connecticut. I really haven't had a chance to do that. I haven't had a chance to meet a lot of people. So it will be really cool to kind of just get moving and get life back to normal.
Not only the people that you meet, that you work with, but the stories that you get to tell. And those stories
Yeah.
aren't being told right now because things just aren't moving right now. You mentioned the hobbies. Let's talk about those because I've noticed two of them.
Cool.
One I was aware of, one I was not aware of. And I'm surprised I didn't know about the piano. So let's start there. I didn't know you could
Yeah.
play the piano. I figured that was something that I would have known, but I don't or didn't.
You know, that is funny, especially me and you. I feel like, especially working in radio together, we talked about a wide range
Yeah,
of
all kinds of
subjects.
stuff. Yeah.
I must have just skipped over that one. But no, I grew up playing piano literally from the time I was probably like 5 years old. I had lessons every week. I was always playing. But then as I moved out and started working and living in other places, I never had a piano. So I just completely stopped playing. And then finally this happened and I just had so much time. And I remember calling my mom and just complaining. And I'm like, it's snowing outside, so I can't go for a run or a walk or do anything. And she found this piano delivery rental place. So I ordered a big freaking piano and I have a Yamaha piano now in my apartment. And they just came and drop it off. And now that's my hobby. And I'm like slowly relearning because, I've read sheet music my whole life, but when you take a 6-year break from it, it's kind of bizarre trying to relearn that. So right now I'm trying to work on it, but I'm learning All of Me by John Legend. So I will keep you updated on that.
Oh, excellent. Please do. And leave it to your mom to come to the rescue from like 2,500 miles away.
Everything. She does everything for me still, like every little minor inconvenience. I'm like, Mom, what do I do with this?
So the other thing that I've noticed, and I did know you and I obviously share something else. It's food. We both are big
Food,
food people, right?
always.
And so, but you've been doing, obviously you've been making dinner more than just the last couple of weeks, but lately you've been putting it on Instagram and there's been recipes that followed.
Yeah.
What made you decide to do that? Because I got to say, one of the
Oh,
things about this situation, as difficult as it's been, is I've loved the little things people have done just to either entertain themselves, others, or both. And the food thing, I think, has been a lot of fun.
that's so cool. Thank you. I know I've always loved cooking, but I've never had time to do it because my work schedule, especially in LA, was so crazy. I mean, I never knew when I was going to work. So it would always be like, hey, Lakers practice is at 11 a.m. Go there right now. And I'd be like, oh, okay. But so one, I never even went to the grocery store when I was living in LA. Two, I was ordering Postmates like all the time or going to my parents' house. And so now I have time to go to the grocery store or order my delivery service that gets my groceries. And then I just sit around all day and I'm like, I have hours to cook and it's so much fun. So there's an Instagram that I follow that has some really great recipes. So I'll use hers and kind of put a spin on it. Her name's Half Baked Harvest for anyone that watches and needs good recipes. But then I started just kind of making my own stuff and making it kind of how I would like it. And so then I would post stuff of fun stuff I would make that I'd be excited about. And I can't tell you, my DMs would just flood with people. How did you make that? Send me the recipe. I want to try that. And I want to make that for my kids. So finally I was like, okay, I'm just going to give everyone my recipes because I want everyone to enjoy this. And now we all have time and we're all together with our families. Most people, not me, but it's cool to cook for other people. And so that's been a really great blessing of this whole thing is that I now have time to do things I am passionate about and I want to continue to get better and better. And just, I don't want to get busy again because I want to keep cooking. It's so fun.
You'll have to find a way to carve out time to do both when things get back to normal. Because I got to
Exactly.
say, I'm going to have less ideas if you stop posting yours. So
Okay,
I'm
good.
going to
I'll
have to
keep
ask you
going.
to, yeah, thank you. I'm going to have to ask you to keep that up. And look, actually, I don't want to get too deep into the weeds here, but as we
Yeah.
sit back, you and I are both removed from what's happening in Minneapolis right now. Far, far away from it, both of us. And, to me, this isn't about politics. It's a senseless loss of life and something that happened right in front of our eyes. And, I wonder going back over the last, whether it's 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 50 years, when it comes to sports and activism, what role that they play, and I'm not talking about fixing things, Ashley, because you and I both know that's far too complicated for a fix, right?
Yeah.
But what role can sports play in whether it's calming things down or maybe helping us identify with reality? Because one of the things that I love about sports is that it takes people from many different backgrounds and elevates them into superstars, right? People that come from all walks of life, whether their parents were rich or not. And so it allows us to look into the lives of people that maybe we wouldn't have, and we go maybe back to the way they grew up, and we learn. And so I wonder what sports can do to maybe teach us in a time like this.
Absolutely. First and foremost, I feel like me, myself, being a sportscaster, being on television, and anyone that's a public figure, any kind of athlete, anyone who has any kind of notoriety in whatever they do, we have been given a platform. And with a platform, I feel comes a huge responsibility. And I take that very seriously. I always have, ever since I've been in television. I know that people watch me. I know that people look at me. I know people look at what I do in my job and outside of my job. And so I think it is first so important to use that platform for good, and not for selfish reasons of what can I use it for? How can I get more followers? How much money can I have? It is to do good and to help others. And one of my closest friends in the business, and someone I went to college with, his name is Emmanuel Acho, and he worked for ESPN, played in the NFL, and now is working at Fox Sports. And he made the most unbelievable video. And and he said it so eloquently. And his plea to people like us of white skin color was to, one, just understand that feeling and try to imagine that. And it's really hard for us because we've never had to worry about something like that. But two, to be comfortable talking about it and to not shy away from it and to not pretend like in a week like it didn't happen. Because a lot of things happen in the world where, okay, it's past, life goes on, and you forget
Especially
about
now,
it.
the news cycle is so fast.
It's constant. There's something new happening every single day, and you can get mad about this, and you can talk about this. I mean, there's so much material, but it's important to talk about it. And I think especially these athletes, they have a duty now to make these names known, to encourage people, to make sure that this doesn't become a topic that in a week is kind of old and just forgotten. We have to talk about these things. We have to give compassion. We have to pray for everyone involved. But I think it's really important for people to use their platforms just to really make these issues known, and then to understand the way that these people feel. And Emmanuel said, check on your friends. Check on your friends that are Black and ask them, how are you doing? How are you feeling about this? How can I help? Reach out to people, talk to people. It's awkward sometimes, and talking about race isn't an easy thing, but it's so important, and we cannot let this continue. I mean, how much longer can this go? It's just heartbreaking, and it's awful, and I can't imagine the families that are affected by these kind of things. They're senseless, and they cannot continue. So I think the more we talk about it, and the more aware we become, I just think that's all we can do, because some things are out of our control. But I think the more we understand, the more compassion we show, the more just love that we show for each other. These things can be, they'll never be fixed, but they can be helped.
Ashley Brewer, ESPN anchor and host, and also a very good friend of mine. Ashley, thanks for taking the time. It's always great to talk to you.
You're the best. Thank you so much. Anything for you, Zach.
And hey, I know it's tough out there being by yourself, but stay strong, okay?
Appreciate you, my friend. See you later.
Make sure to follow us on TikTok and Twitter for daily BNN news and sports updates. And subscribe to our YouTube channel so you won't miss BNN's Bedtime Stories. This has been a presentation of the Bedroom News Network.